Top 10 defensive backs in Madden 24 Ultimate Team as of June 11th. Before we get to the top 10, I am making this video the night before Golden Ticket Deion Sanders gets put in the game. So let me know down in the comments where you think he should be put on this list, given I have not seen his abilities and you guys have. Now, I will say this, unless he has to get universal coverage, otherwise he's probably not making this list. At minimum, universal coverage or reinforcement is a pretty much requirement right now for me to be, or for me to put him in the top 10. But again, let me know where you guys think he should be at. But now actually getting into the top 10, starting off with not Golden Ticket, but 94 Joel. Honestly, this was the hardest selection to make. There was a handful of corners that I just don't really think. Honestly, there's like number 9 and higher are just tiers above everyone else in this list. Number 10, I chose Joe Alt because he's 6'8", deep zone, mid zone, and pick artist for 0 AP. He is a standalone safety. While this is a defensive back, and I would like players that can play safety, slot corner, and outside corner, Joe Alt is primarily a safety, and he is a very good one at that. Now, again, you're not going to be able to man him up. He's not going to get any KOs there, but deep zone, mid zone, and pick artist for 0 AP. That's pretty much all you need from a safety right now, unless you do want to man him up. But Joe Alt comes in at number 10. I also have a soft spot because he's a budget card. He's only 50 to 60k. So make sure if you're working on a budget, you don't have all the coins in the world, you make sure Joe Alt is one of your safeties. Next up at number 9, we have a card that actually gets the same ability stack as Joe Alt. He's just a little bit better, right? 6'8", 99 speed. He has like the other stats like agility, acceleration, change of direction, pick artist, deep zone, and mid zone for 0 AP. Also, he has the charge of X factors over Joe Alt. I don't think Joe Alt has any good charge of X factors. Harold Carmichael, you can the likes of reinforcement, avalanche, stuff like that. So that is why Harold Carmichael is at number 9. But at number 8, we have a card that I think has a little bit better ability combinations than Harold Carmichael. They both, again, are going to get deep zone and mid zone for 0 AP. But I prefer to have, I believe it's Secure Tackler or Tackle Supreme. I forgot which one it exactly is on Paul Krause. But you're able to get that for 0 AP, and I prefer that over the likes of pick artists with all the angle runs, freight train passive abilities we see on running backs, and now especially on wide receivers. I think having a secure tackler or a tackle supreme is more important than having a pick artist, and that is why Paul Krause is above Harold Carmichael. Now we're getting to the real goons. The only golden ticket to make this list is Mark Bavaro, 6'4", 99 speed. His special ability he's going to get in that last bucket for 1 AP is reinforcement. That is going to help with vanguards, going to help with shedding blocks, but also will get KOs on every man or zone. Pretty much if he makes contact with the receiver while they're catching the ball, it is going to KO. Now, it's not going to have the effects, the reaction effects of a zone KO, but the way I like to use reinforcement is give him the zone KOs, right? Give him deep zone, give him mid zone, give him reinforcement. That'll be for 1 AP. And then if you ever want to man him up on a player, you're not going to have one step ahead, but you're going to get the KOs of a, universal coverage. So essentially, you got universal coverage, but you don't have one step ahead, if that makes a lot of sense. You can also throw flat zone KO or secure tackler for 2 AP in one of the other buckets. But Mark Bavaro, at one point, I think was the most important defensive back in the game, has just gotten phased out a little bit of the high-end meta from cards we've seen the past week and a half. Ronnie Lott is up next at number 6. He might be the oldest card on this list and very, very similar to Mark Bavaro in the sense that he gets reinforcement for 0 AP. Now, Ronnie Lott, for the most part, is not a zone coverage corner. He is a man-to-man defensive back. You can play him in the slot, you can play him on the outside, you can play him up top at safety, because you can get reinforcement, right, for 0 AP, and then one step ahead for 1 AP in the final bucket, and that right there is all the man coverage KOs you get, because again, reinforcement, all the man KOs, and one step ahead. Essentially universal coverage, but without the zone KOs. So Ronnie Lott, for a pure man-to-man corner, or man-to-man defensive back, sorry, he is up there with the best in the game. Sticking with that man-to-man coverage theme, we've got Asante Samuel, Ultimate Legend, cracking the top 5. The upgrade, I would say, from him over Ronnie Lott is he gets bottleneck built on for 0 AP, and then you could also add reinforcement for 1 AP in the final bucket. Once again, like Ronnie Lott, he is not really a zone coverage corner, although he gets reinforcement, so he gets the zone KOs. He's not going to react in time. If you want him to react in time, you're going to have to pay, 3 AP for mid zone, 3 AP for deep outside zone, so I wouldn't recommend that. I think Asante Samuel is best used in the slot. Again, bottleneck reinforcement, press man coverage corner. You also get tackle supreme on him for 0 AP. He is perfect for this man-to-man coverage bottleneck meta we're seeing right now in the game. At number 4, we've got the first divisional dynasty card on this list in the physical specimen, 6'3", 98 speed, Ryan Neal. He also was the first defensive back in this video to have the coveted universal coverage as a passive ability in the last bucket for 1 AP. And that's pretty much all you need to know for Ryan Neal. I would also preferably play him at top safety, either at free safety or strong safety. Run universal coverage, and then, you get secure tackler in bucket number, I believe, 3 for 0 AP. Buckets 4, 5, and 6, you can kind of just choose whatever you want. I think I have acrobat, inside stuff, and run stopper. Those abilities don't really matter because they're all man and zone KOs, and that's what you have in the sense of universal coverage in the last slot. You could throw an avalanche and then choose the zone KOs in buckets 4, 5, and 6, but I say what the heck, just run universal coverage 1 AP. That way you're able to man him up if you ever want to. Ryan Neal, he's in the top 4. Next up at number 3, we have a card very similar to Ryan Neal in Larry Wilson, a little bit shorter at 6 foot and 98 speed. Also gets pick artist built onto the card for 0 AP. And then that last bucket, again, coveted universal coverage for 1 AP. The reason I have Larry Wilson above Ryan Neal is for the simple fact that he gets avalanche in buckets 4 and 5, 4 and 5, sorry, as well as tackle supreme instead of secure tackler. So, you don't get faked out as much by those overpowered jukes. Again, very similar cards. I would play both Larry Wilson and Ryan Neal at top safety because they do not get the bottleneck ability, so they're a little bit worse in man press coverage. But again, universal coverage, can man, can zone, can do it all. Play Larry Wilson at safety, you will not be disappointed. But here's another one of those bottleneck cornerbacks. At number 2, we've got Ultimate Legend Darrelle Revis. And what makes him different or stand out from Asante Samuel at number 5 is the simple fact that they both get bottleneck for 0 AP, but Darrelle Revis gets universal coverage instead of reinforcement for 1 AP. So he gets all the zone reactions instead of just having the zone KOs. Also gets pick artist for 0 AP, film study for 0 AP, tackle supreme for 0 AP. You could choose 2 out of those 3 abilities in buckets, I think 4 and 5. I preferably am not allowed to use film study in PL tournaments, so I just rock with pick artist and tackle supreme. Again, he's really a do-it-all. You can play zone, you can play man, but he is primed for this bottleneck man coverage meta we are seeing right now in the game. Darrelle Revis is at number 2. But at number 1, maybe a bit of a surprise to some of you guys. This probably is the first video or top 10 ranking video I've done where number 1 isn't a foregone conclusion. Some of you guys might have thought it was Darrelle Revis because he can pretty much do it all. He gets every ability in the game, tackle supreme, yada, yada, yada. But Charvarius Ward, man, he's got the aura. He's also a little bit taller, stronger in the sense that he's 6'1", almost 200 pounds. The other thing about Charvarius Ward, he does get those charge up X Factors in the, in the X Factor bucket, whereas Ultimate Legends do not. But Charvarius Ward, the best way I can describe him, or what I like to call him, the chameleon of defensive backs. You can mold him into whatever type of corner or defensive back you want. You can go universal coverage in the final slot for 0 AP, the only player in the game to get that as a passive ability for 0 AP. And then you can throw in secure tackler for 2 AP, as well as acrobat and whatever you want in buckets 3, 4, 5, and 6. Or if you want to run man coverage, which is what I'm doing right now, I throw bottleneck in the last slot for 0 AP, and then one step ahead in bucket number, I believe 6 it is, for 0 AP, and then all the short, medium, and deep route KOs in buckets number 3, 4, and 5. The only downside to that ability setup is you have to pay for secure tackler, or I believe you actually can't get secure tackler in that ability setup because it is not in buckets 1 or 2. But Charvarius Ward, man, he can do it all pretty much. There's a reason I have it at number 1. Former Chief, so maybe I have a little bit of a soft spot for him. But yeah, that's, I think, all for top 10 defensive backs. Let me know some names that I missed out on. Honestly, again, at number 10, I could have gone with a plethora of names. Mean Joe Green, Eddie Jackson, Jesse Bates, maybe the new Deion Sanders is at number 10. We'll have to wait and see. Let me know down in the comments, though, who I missed and who is your favorite defensive back of the game. Also, Cam Chancellor, one of the huge names that I missed out on. Again, I'm not the biggest fan of Avalanche, straight up. As well as, ability-wise, you have to spend a little bit for the zone KOs on Cam Chancellor. But that's all for this video. Comment if you have any questions, like if you enjoyed, subscribe if you are new, and until next time, peace.